ability. While I ceremoniously on this show packed up the Buffalo Bills, I packed them. I was done with them. I was done with the Buffalo Bills. Packed them up. They're not packed up, man. I got to be honest. Jesse Holley, I got to unpack the Buffalo Bills. I got to look at the box and I go, you didn't make the right move, Jess. And I watched the Buffalo Bills single-handedly spank on the Dallas Cowboys. James Cook, 179 yards rushing. Another 40-something yards receiving. Over 200 yards of total offense. Career highs for James Cook. Josh Allen, 7 completions in a game. Unheard of. You would think, if I told you that Josh Allen had 7 completions in a game, you'd have told me, wow, Buffalo must have got cooked. He must have had 4 interceptions. No. Didn't need him to pass. 266 total yards of rushing on the ground for the Buffalo Bills. Dog walked the Dallas Cowboys. Manhandled the Dallas Cowboys. You know how we do on this show. Sent the Cowboys outside to get their own switch. And you better not come back in here with a skinny one. So because of that, and they found themselves back in the playoff race, they're finding their mojo. They made the switch. They fired Ken Dorsey, elevated Joe Brady, and he said, I'm giving the ball to number 4, James Cook. And I'm going to let him do what he does. See, I've been sitting back here watching old Ken Dorsey call the thing, and I've been saying to myself, boy, we should get the ball to James Cook more. If I was calling the show, we would get the ball to James Cook. And lo and behold, Joe Brady got the job, and he went right to work. And he said, yeah, I know we got Josh Allen. And I know we got Stephon Diggs. And we got Dalton Kincaid. And we got Knox. And we got Gabe. And we got Shakir. But we got this other dude in the backfield that's pretty versatile. He Dalvin, little brother. And it has been an asserted effort by the Buffalo Bills to get James Cook the ball. So, hurts me to do this. It crushes me to do this. I'm unpacking the Buffalo Bills. I'm unpacking the Buffalo Bills. I had them in a box. I put the tape on the box. And I should have listened to the little devil on my shoulder when Tay kept saying, I don't know, Jess. I don't think you should pack up Buffalo. They're actually a good football team. And I kept saying, man, shoot, get out of here. I don't want to, man, get out there, pack them jokers up. And so I gotta be honest with you. Buffalo's a good football team. They exposed the Cowboys in areas that we kind of always had questions about. But now those questions has arise again. For years and years, we've said to this Cowboys team, can't stop the run. This dates back to when the Cowboys played the Rams in the playoffs, and they took the fat back off the couch, and he rushed for over 200 yards in that game. And it has been an ongoing theme for the Dallas Cowboys that when you play good football teams who can run the football, they struggle. And it seems as if we tried to address it. We brought in Big Hankins, and we used the first round pick, Elmazi Smith, to kind of secure it. And it's never really been a part of the identity of the Cowboys to be actual run stoppers. That is a commitment that you must make up front. I blamed Aaron Donald last week. I said Aaron Donald has corrupted nose tackles. Aaron Donald, who was an undersized nose tackle out of Pittsburgh, came into the league. Aaron Donald, for long, has been my NFL Man Crush Monday, my MCM. Can admit it. Shout out to his wife, Erica. I've known Erica, she's a little girl. Her daddy was my wide receiver coach, Ray Sherman. But Aaron Donald comes into this league as an undersized nose tackle and takes the world by storm. Now, all of a sudden, nose tackles are getting sacks. And they're getting after the quarterback. And Aaron Donald wins Defensive Player of the Year award how many times? 2? 3 times? 10+ sacks multiple years? Arguably made himself one of the best defensive linemen in NFL history. So now all the fat boys... 3.
And NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year.
So he been balling. So now all the fat dudes have decided we don't really want to have the duties of being fat anymore. See, back in the day, I played with Vince Wilfork for a minute in New England. And Vince Wilfork understood the assignment. I'm 350. I'm 340. I'm 3 bill plus. My job is to be fat. Eat up blocks. Clog up the middle. Keep my linebackers clean. Let Vrabel, let Brewski, let Izzo, let Mayo, let those guys just roam free and make the tackle. If I get to the quarterback every now and again, it's cherry on top. But my job is just to be fat. And the days of the big Vince Wilforks are dead. So now defensive tackles and nose tackles, they want to get jiggy with it. They want to get to the quarterback. Because they said if we get sacks, we get paid. So nobody has the commitment to being a bona fide run stopper. Being a run stopper takes a little bit of attitude, takes a little bit of willingness to say, I don't care about my stats as long as they don't get their stats and rushing the football. And we talk a lot of times about complementary football. We talk about, offense and defense, they play complementary football. But not too often we talk about how teams build their teams in a complementary way. Well, Jess, what are you talking about? Well, for a long time, the Dallas Cowboys, they built their team, especially under Dan Quinn, in a certain way. Go and look at the stats. This Cowboys defense is built for pass rush and pass pressure and turnovers on the back end. They've led the league or have been in the top 2 or 3 in the league in sacks and pressures, and they've bona fide led the league in turnovers the last 2 years. Nowhere in that did you say, or you hear me say, they were a run stopper. Because contrary to them being pass rushers, pressures, and turnovers, they're one of the teams that give up the most rushing yards. So even in the way that they're designed and built, see, they're built because they're saying, well, we're built in a way because the compliment to us is our offense is going to get out and score points. And when our offense gets out and scores points and they get 10-point leads and 13-point leads and 14-point leads and 18-point leads at halftime, the complimentary part is now the team that we're playing on defense, their opposing offense becomes one-handed. They have to pass the ball now more often than they want to. We get a chance to pin our ears back, get after the quarterback for sacks, for pressures, and then on the back end, they can jump routes. Well, the Buffalo Bills had understood the assignment. They said, oh, you don't have the one guy that you actually brought in to kind of help stop the run, who did okay in it, in Jonathan Hankins. You don't have him? Oh, we're going to test your gangster then. We're going to test your gangster. And don't confuse with having some physical guys as a team being physical. The Cowboys aren't a physical football team. They may have a guy or two who plays physically, but their overall makeup and mindset, they don't want that physical smoke. They don't. And I don't care who says it. They may have some guys who are physical, but their overall arching mindset, what their not genetic makeup, but what their team makeup is on that side of the ball is not physicality. It ain't. It ain't. It is not. It's more of a finesse, pass rushing, and turnovers. Now those work when your offense does their part. Here's a quick stat for you. Talk about the offense doing their part, and I'll get back to the defense. This stat, and I'm going to give credit to who it's from, prior to the game starting in Buffalo on Sunday, this stat came from Bobby Belt. Bobby went and did the research, and he went and he looked at all of Dak Prescott's games that he played in the rain in his career. I don't know how Bobby found that, but Bobby's like a Rain Man. He just finds weird stats. Interesting stat. And this is the complimentary part that I'm talking about. Dak Prescott versus the rain. In his career in rain games, Dak Prescott is 46 of 79. That's a 58.2 percentage. He's thrown for 498 yards. That's 6.3 yards per pass. He has 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. A 71.6 passer rating. In the rain. And that continued in this game against Buffalo. So while he didn't bring his A game, because he never does, and according to the stats that Bobby Belt gave us, there was no opportunity for there to be complimentary football. What the Cowboys do well defensively, with rushing the passer, getting pressure, and creating turnovers in the back end, they weren't able to do because they never had the lead. And Buffalo understood the assignment because they said, well, if we're getting anything we want on the ground, inside, outside, left side, right side, why would we pass the ball? Why would we ever give you an opportunity to rush the quarterback? For Josh Allen to make a mistake, for Josh Allen to throw an interception. No, I'm just going to keep turning around and hand the ball to James Cook to the tune of 7.7 yards per carry. 4.2 yards per carry before anyone touched him. That means that he was up on the second level before anybody in the Cowboys uniform actually made contact. And I told you guys for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, I think it's admirable and honorable and all around good that Marquise Bell has taken on the job that Dan Quinn asked him to take on. When Overshown went out and they had some other things didn't work out for them, Dan Quinn goes to Marquise Bell and he says, son, I need you to play linebacker. And this whole hybrid thing that they've been doing with Marquise Bell and with Jaron Kearse and Donovan Wilson and just having this 4 or 5-headed monster and they're using this hybrid in linebacker. I said, guys, if you're listening to old Jay Holley, I know Marquise, and this is not an indictment on Marquise Bell. He's only doing what he's been asked to do. As someone who's trying to find his way as a young player in this league, when a coach comes and asks you to do something and you don't have enough contract money or enough status in the league to go, nah, I'm good on that. This is your way to be a good teammate. This is your way to kind of have a little bit of good graces with that coach to keep a job. Coach said I need you to play linebacker. He said, I'm not a linebacker, but okay. And he had some good moments in the way the scheme that Dan Quinn wanted to scheme it up. But I kept telling people, guys, when teams, especially when you get the good teams, especially when you get to the playoffs, teams are going to start saying, number 14, that joker's 200 pounds. He's 200 pounds. We're going to just keep letting these 300-pound dudes tee off on him. And we're going to see how much he's able to withstand. Buffalo had an assignment. They understood it. And they said, we moving these jokers. And it's, again, this is not an attack of Marquise Bell. He is doing what was asked of him. But a 205-pound, 210-pound linebacker in the National Football League, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this league is too skilled, too diverse, just too game plan ready, where a coach is going to say, there's no way in hell I'm going to let you line up a 200-pound linebacker and we not attack him. As well as your other guys. As well as running at your guy, Micah Parsons, who wants to be a pass rusher and not a run stopper. And they did it over and over and over and over again. And the Cowboys didn't have an answer. And while we call Mike McCarthy to the carpet a lot of times for sometimes his mismanagement, which should have threw the flag on that one, and challenged the play call, you got to bring Dan Quinn to the table too and say, DQ, we love you. Boy, have you been good for this franchise. Boy, have you found some gems in the draft. Boy, have you been able to put some plans together. But boy, when you face a team that has an integral scheme that gives you a little bit of challenge, you nut up, my boy. You start glitching. You went through that entire game, Dan Quinn, and you watched them hand the ball to James Cook over and over and over again, and you did nothing to change. You kept an equal or light box. When I say equal or an even box, you kept enough dudes in the box to match the dudes that they were blocking. So you were either 6 for 6 or 7 for 7. And they just man blocked you and blocked you and blocked you, and you did nothing to change. Even when the game was out of sorts and out of hand for you, that's when you're supposed to say, you know what, guys, we lost this game, but damn it, they're not going to just keep running this ball on me. I'm bringing an 8th guy to the box. I'm run blitzing. I'm going to do something where they can't just turn the ball and hand the ball to James Cook and he go get 7 yards a pop. 4 yards before anyone touches him. Dan Quinn, you got to be better. Because when you get into the playoffs and that thing is isolated, that's win or go home. Teams now have nothing else to do but super, super duper prepare for you. And they're going to be looking for the opportunities. And more often than not, they're going to go back to these films and go, they can't stop the run. Buffalo ain't no big physical running team. That ain't their MO. But they made their MO. They understood the assignment. And there was nothing that the Cowboys could do. Gotta be better. Gotta have better energy, had to have game plan. The Cowboys went to Buffalo and thought just showing up was going to be enough. Nothing worked for them, offensively or defensively. And I think we've seen it a little bit too much against the good football teams. Like, it's okay to lose a game every now and again, but the way that it happened against the Niners kind of been it was a dog walking, and now Buffalo's a dog walking. That's a little bit concerning to me. So while I packed Buffalo up a couple weeks ago, I got to give respect where respect is due and unpack Buffalo. It's a good football team. And for Dak, coming into that game, you were riding high, my boy. Leading the league in my eyes in MVP votes. This was an opportunity for you to go on the road, matched up against another good quarterback in a hostile environment on a team that's rising, and go show the world again that I'm like this, that I'm him. And you didn't. You pissed down your leg, actually. I mean, they gave up some prevent yards at the end of the game, but you didn't throw for a touchdown. Goes back to that stat I read about Bobby Belt. You threw another interception. You actually threw 4. They dropped 3 of them. Like, one dude got hit in the chest. I hit you in the chest. I'll wet you. CeeDee Lamb helped knock one down. Brandon Cook helped knock the other one down, and they finally got one. But these are the games. We talk about the national media having their narrative. At times, Dak, you don't kind of help. You don't help the situation. You go into a game like this and you basically piss down your leg. An embarrassing type situation when you think about it. When you look at the numbers from that particular game, I'm going to pull them up.
Okay.
You got them? What's the numbers?
For Dak?
For Dak.
21 of 34.
In that game?
Yeah.
Okay.
134 yards.
134 yards.
One pick.
One pick.
No touchdowns.
No touchdowns.
3 sacks.
3 sacks.
Rushing 4 attempts for 27.
Yeah.
6.8 per carry.
Not good enough. Not good enough. When the moments are at their brightest, you got to show up big, and you didn't. And for that, I think your MVP candidacy. Well, I don't think Vegas says it did take a hit. You were leading last week before that game happened. Now you're not. Now it's Christian McCaffrey, it's Brock Purdy. I mean, I think you're still in the mix. But boy, you had a major opportunity to really make some hay on that MVP. And I know you're going to say, I don't care about the MVP. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Now, I'm not saying that you don't want a championship, but stop. Don't tell me you don't care about the MVP. For sure, you would want to win the MVP. If you and I were talking at your crib or at the bar or at the barbershop, you want the MVP. So don't give me the politically correct answer when you stand in front of folks. So, well, I'm not one for individual awards. My goal is for the big award. I get it. But boy, you don't have an opportunity every single year to win the MVP. Nobody does. I don't care who you are. When you have an opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. And you had a chance to really make some hay and kind of separate yourself, and you didn't. But you lived to see another day. And now you have to get yourself ready to go back on the road to South Beach, to Mike McDaniels, and that track meet. Defense got to